Hi, and welcome to Off the Beaten Tracks. And no, we're not the source of that strange smell in your basement.
Hello, welcome to Off the Beaten Tracks. Today we're going to be entering Jeff's 50 subscriber competition. He has asked us to talk about and hold up albums from some of our favorite concerts. Now, I've lived in a big city most of my life. I lived in Toronto and I lived in LA, and I've seen almost, dozens of major acts: Alice Cooper, Elvis Costello, Doobie Brothers. I'm reading these off a list here. Allman Brothers, John Fogerty, yes, Bob Dylan. I have an interesting story about Bob Dylan and the concert I went to, and I will be doing an extra video on that. Bruce Springsteen, Tom Petty, Lou Reed, Pink Floyd, U2, Neil Young, Ozzy Osbourne, Metallica, Aerosmith. The list goes on and on. So what I thought I would do is slightly different, because it's Off the Beaten Tracks. I would do concerts that have small stories to them, and some of these are very small stories, but just rather than, oh boy, wasn't that a great concert. So my very first concert ever, I went with I think Dave, and maybe Paul, and I went to April Wine. I think we went to the Stand Back concert. This is their first album. It was at the Oshawa Auditorium, and they brought their cannon, which is from the stand, and they fired the confetti, and yes, that was, but interestingly, Miles Goodwin, who is the songwriter, singer for most of April Wine's history, it was also my last concert. I went to see him 2 nights ago at a club. He's doing a blues, he's got 2 blues albums out, and he was doing that. It was a wonderful concert. I got to talk to Miles afterwards, and he even signed a CD for me. So first and last concert, same guy. Interesting, hopefully. Next is, this is Paul Kelly. He's an Australian act, and when I was in Los Angeles, the great thing is he lives half the year in LA and lives half the year in Australia. Now, he's as big as the Rolling Stones in Australia and plays gigantic stadiums. But he is, I'm not saying unknown, but he is a smaller known act in LA, and I got to see him in some clubs and places, and an amazing songwriter and performer. And he has probably 15, 20 albums out. So I'm working on a show, and I get tickets to go see him warming up for somebody that I can't remember the name of, a female artist that you'd know if I probably mentioned her. And so, but I really want to go see him. So I call this scalper friend of mine, and he sells me these tickets. I'm in 3rd row or something. And it cost me quite a bit. I bring a couple of friends with me, and we're really excited. We sit down, and he comes out with a bass player. I think it was just him and a bass player. And he plays 3, 4 songs tops, and goes off to the side. And I think, oh, he must be getting a different guitar or something. No, that was it. That was the entire concert. It was the shortest warm-up act I have ever seen in my entire life. You didn't get warm at all from that. But those 4 songs or 3 songs, whatever it was, were still good. Next is an interesting thing. It's a dual headliner. It was the Old 97s. I've got 2 albums here because I've seen the Old 97s many, many times. And Josh Ritter. It was really a tale of 2 bands. What was fascinating about this was that it's been no secret, certainly if you go see Rhett Miller doing his solo act, that he does not get along with his guitarist. And the difference between these 2 bands, when they came on, the Old 97s, you would have thought that it was the very, very last concert they would ever do together. I mean, They just stared straight ahead and didn't talk to one another. Murray, who is a good friend of Rhett's, they intermingled a little, and I saw the guitarist once go back and talk to the drummer. But the guitarist never, ever, ever looked at Rhett the entire time, just stared straight ahead. And at the end of the concert, the rest of the band left, and the guitarist stayed on stage, wouldn't even leave with them, waited for a good 30, 40 seconds, talked to some people, handed out a couple of guitar picks before he actually went backstage. I guess he was waiting for Rhett to get into his limo or whatever and go before he had to see him backstage. Now, Josh Ritter, and these were both good musically, though this tension, it did kind of put a damper on the old 97s. The Josh Ritter, those guys seemed to just love each other. They enjoyed being on the stage. There was just that camaraderie that you usually see with bands, and basically they're working for Josh, the band. But great band. It was a three-piece, but yeah, the camaraderie and the joy, and the joy of Josh as he did these songs, which was not there. I don't know whether Rhett had a big argument before they went on stage or not, but there was it was a pretty pretty grim performance. Next, I'm going to go with Bruce Coburn. My story about this: I was working on a show and I had my assistant call, and I'd been bragging about Bruce to a number of people in LA, and he was playing this small place that I'd seen a number of concerts called McCabe's Guitar Store, where all kinds of great acts play. And it is literally in the back of a guitar store and seats, I don't know, 90 people maybe, and there are guitars and mandolins and things hanging on the wall. It's a wonderful place to see a concert. So I've been bragging about him, and I invite 6 people to go with me, and I get these tickets. And it's in the winter, and it's cold. But, it's not cold for real places, but for LA and Santa Monica, this was pretty frigid. And I've dragged these people to Santa Monica, which is a long drive from Los Angeles, where most of them lived. So I get there, and we're standing in line, and the guy comes through the line, and he asks you if you've got your tickets, and you give them your name, and he's got a big lump of tickets in his hand. He goes through the list, and he hands you the tickets. So he gets to me, and I say Vickers, and he goes to, and they're not there. And I said, well, I called, and I paid for these tickets, and they're not there. And then he goes back inside, and nobody has a record of me having these tickets. Now I'm phoning my assistant to find out. I'm desperately trying to reach her to see where my tickets are, and I'm pretty sure she called for them. But now you start to doubt yourself, even though you're sure of things. And I've got all these cold friends standing next to me going, why are we here in Santa Monica if we're not going to go see anything? So they're very, very nice people in McCabe's, and eventually they let us in. And we had to sit at the back. But unfortunately, it's 90 seats. The difference between back and the front is I don't know, 20 feet. It's not much. So it was a great concert. We really enjoyed it. Turns out the guy who we got the tickets from, ordered the tickets from, is a bit of a flake. And I don't know if he was a drinker or not. There was some quirky thing about this guy. But he had taken the order and left it on his desk upstairs in McCabe's, and that's where they were when I showed up. So I had to pay for the tickets. I think I may have had to pay for tickets again, so they reimbursed me the second ticket price. But the other part of that is this is my next concert, because I'm going back to LA in a week, and one of my best friends, Steve, and I are going to go see Bruce Coburn at the very same venue at McCabe's Guitar Store, and I hope those tickets are there this time. This is slightly different. This is, I think I showed this recently. This is Stephen Bishop, and I haven't seen him literally in concert, but Stephen is a friend of mine, and I used to go to Christmas parties at this place, and Stephen was there. Talked to him a number of times, really nice guy. And I had the pleasure, the honor of listening to Stephen and that golden voice of his singing Christmas carols, just him and a piano in a room full of people. Just thought that was a little concert, a little bit of interest. And my last concert, interesting story, is this, through the magic of computer technology. This is Elton John. And a number of years ago, I was involved in a project with Ray Cooper and several of the Pythons. And besides being, I think, a musical director for Ian Gilliam and being involved in that, he's also Elton John's percussionist. So during this time where I was working with Ray, he was on tour with Elton, and he was playing the Hollywood Bowl. So I thought, oh, maybe this would be the one time I could, get a connection and actually go to a concert, and that would be a real cool thing. So I called Ray up, and Ray says, "Oh, sure, I get." So he gets us this box at the Hollywood Bowl. We actually sat in the box next to Tim Curry, in his box, and he got us backstage passes to go to the after concert party. So we're feeling pretty good about ourselves. So we get there at the concert, we give our names, and unlike the Bruce Coburn thing, they give us our tickets, and they give us these big plastic backstage pass things that you hang around your neck. We go and we sit in our box next to Tim Curry, and the performance is unbelievable. And Ray is just a piece of dynamite. Whenever you see them, for some reason, Elton John is off to the side, and center stage on this great big riser is Ray Cooper smashing away on his bongos. So great concert. He was in great voice, and Ray was in great bongo. And so the concert ends, and as we're walking out, we run into some friends of ours. And they're talking about how great the concert is. And of course, we can't resist. We say, oh, yes, of course, yeah. And we got invited here by Ray Cooper. And we've got these backstage passes, and we're going to go down now. And we're going to meet Elton John and say how much we like this concert. Yes, you could see them turning green. And we walked off proudly in search of, that backstage little thing. So we go around the band shell, and there's a security guard there. And we walk up to that security guard, and we hold up our passes and say, "Let us go by, my good man. We have a date with Elton John. We're going to the backstage party." And he informs us that the backstage party was indeed before the show and not after the show, and that everybody had gone home and there was nobody there to actually hobnob with. Ray had not bothered to mention this to us, that the after show party was actually going to be before the show, so I never got to meet Elton John. I still have my little plastic pass somewhere, but that is the only sad reminder of what could have been. So that's my concert thing. This is my entry. Hopefully that was somewhat entertaining. This one's for Jeff, and so please subscribe to him below, and let's see who wins.
Right. Okay. Okay.